The boxes are sitting in the hallway. Their doorbell rang a few weeks ago. And now your 34-year-old son is back in their old bedroom. You've been telling the guys at the coffee shop or your friends at the club that it's a good thing. You're giving them a leg up. You're providing a safety net so they can survive these 2026 rent hikes and finally save enough to get a home of their own. You feel like you're doing exactly what a parent is supposed to do, but there's a feeling in your gut every time you walk past that bedroom. It's the same feeling you get when you open the mail and see the property tax assessment of that homeowner's insurance premium that jumped 30%. You've been told your house is your greatest asset. And once that mortgage hits zero, you're finally safe. But a new research shows that adult children aren't moving back into their old bedrooms to get a head start on their own lives. The numbers show that 1 in 3 of these adults are now footing the bill for the household expenses. They aren't building a safety net, they are paying for your house. They are the ones covering the property taxes you can't afford on a fixed pension and paying the shadow mortgage that the state and the insurance carriers have placed on your paid off home. This feels like a rescue mission that neither of you planned for and is slowly liquidating the financial future of 2 generations at the exact same time. And there is one part of this that many families don't even think about, and it's a sneaky one. Now we have to start with the $21 trillion. That is the amount of home equity currently held by baby boomers as of 2026. It is the largest pool of private wealth in the history of the world. To you, it represents 30 years of mowing the lawn and staying in the school district so your kids could have a stable life. To the banks, to the tax assessors, and the governments, that $21 trillion is simply the only thing left to harvest. The system has a problem. It can't get to that money if you just sit in the house. So it has created an environment where the cost of staying put is becoming high enough to force a liquidation. Now look at what's happening in my backyard here in the southwest suburbs. Look at Frankfort, Mokena, Orland Park. If you bought your home in the late 90s for $150,000, it's worth $650,000 to $750,000 today on paper. You should be wealthy, but the shadow mortgage has arrived. Between the recent boundary shifts in some school districts and county tax escalators, your free house now could cost you easily $1,500 or more a month just for the privilege of standing on the dirt. If your retirement income was built on the inflation numbers of 2015, you are hitting a wall. You have $1 million in equity, but you can't afford to walk through your own front door. That is why the doorbell rang and your child is in the basement. The forever home has become so expensive that it now requires 2 generations of income just to keep the lights on. The story isn't a failure to launch. They are moving home because the American dream has been broken for anyone who doesn't already own the land. You are both being squeezed by the same machine. Now, when we look at the EBRI study, the numbers are brutal. 1/3 of all children are solely responsible for housing expenses. We aren't talking about them chipping in for groceries. It's more about them writing the check for the property tax escrow. Sure, they're helping, but that misses the opportunity cost. For every dollar your child spends keeping your paid off house current, they're losing the one thing they can never get back: time. Compounding interest of their own retirement accounts and the appreciation of their first home. The 2026 economy has created a scenario where the family unit has to choose between the parent's past and the child's future. And the powers that be love this. The tax assessor doesn't care if the check is signed by a 68-year-old or a 32-year-old, as long as the wealth is being extracted from the family and moved into the state's piggy bank. The shadow mortgage is considered healthy. They want you both in that house because as long as you're both there, the bill gets paid. You might be asking, Ray, why don't we just sell? Why don't we downsize? Take the cash and give the kid their inheritance now so they can go buy their own place. Because of a law passed in 1997 that hasn't been touched in nearly 30 years. In 1997, the government capped the capital gains exclusion on primary residence at $500,000 for a married couple. Back then, $500,000 gain was massive. It covered almost everyone. But in 2026, inflation has moved. Home prices have tripled, but that $500,000 cap is frozen in time. Now, if you bought your home for $150,000 and it's worth $750,000 today, you are $100,000 over that limit. Have your tax advisor run the math, because the IRS is waiting at the table to take a substantial cut of that excess gain. You are being penalized for the very appreciation you were told would save you. This is the exit tax. You stay in the house that's too big for you because selling it costs more than you can afford. So you bring the child in to help pay for the holding tax. You are both being trapped by the tax code written when your kid was still in grade school. The house is no longer a shelter. It's a tax collection device for the government, and your family is the one funding it. It's not just the taxes, it's the insurance. You've probably seen your homeowner's insurance premium jump 20 or 30% in the last year, even though you've never filed a single claim. You think it's because of your roof. It isn't. It's because something called reinsurance. The companies that insure your insurance company are facing a global crisis because of weather events halfway across the country. They're hiking rates on every single zip code in America. They are treating a house in Tinley Park the same way they treat a house on the coast of Florida. Their insurance tax is the newest part of the shadow mortgage. It's a bill that never goes away. It's a bill that you have zero control over. For a retiree on a fixed income, a $400 monthly jump in insurance is the difference between staying in a home and being forced out. And again, this is where the child's income comes in. They are being drafted as your reinsurance for your retirement. They are the ones plugging the holes in a ship that the global economy has decided is no longer safe to insure at a reasonable rate. You didn't ask for this. They didn't ask for this. You're both victims of a market that has outpaced your ability to keep up. Here is one that you may have never really thought about, and this is a sneaky one, the one I mentioned earlier in the video. If you ever need long-term care, a nursing home, assisted living, Medicaid will go back and look at every financial move you made in the last 5 years before you applied. They call it the look-back period. If they see that your house is sitting in your name with $1 million in equity, they will come for it. You think that by having your child live with you and pay the taxes, you are keeping the house in the family. You think you'll just pass it on to them in the will. But what happens if you need long-term care? In 2026, the cost of a nursing home or an assisted living facility is a wealth-destroying event. If you need that care and you haven't moved that house out of your name 5 years before the need arises, the state will place a lien on your property. They will recoup every dime of care from that equity. All those years your child spent paying for the property taxes, all the money they invested in your house instead of their own, the state doesn't care. They see an asset with $1 million in equity and they will liquidate it to pay for the room in the facility. Your child will have spent their prime earning years subsidizing a house that will eventually be sold at a discount to pay for end-of-life care. They'll be 50 years old with no home of their own, no retirement savings, and the family home will be gone. By trying to protect the house together, you have accidentally ensured that neither of you will own it in the ends. The system is designed to take the equity. If it doesn't get it through the property taxes or the capital gains tax, it gets it through the Medicaid liens. Pew Research says 60 million Americans are living in multi-generational households. The mainstream media calls this a cultural shift. They want you to believe that we are becoming more like Europe and Asia, where families stay together for decades. They're ignoring the fundamental difference. In those cultures, the tax and housing systems are built for that. In America, our economy is built on individual mobility and the compounding of interest. When a 30-year-old stops buying their first home, they aren't just delaying their American dream, they're killing their retirement. The $1,500 a month they are contributing to your house today would be worth millions by the time they reach your age if it were in their own name. By trying to save the house today, the system is guaranteeing that the child will have no house tomorrow. You're both being squeezed by an economy that has decided that the only way to keep this suburban model alive is to use the income of the young to pay for the equity of the old. And at this point, you'll hear people tell you, go get a HELOC or a reverse mortgage so you don't have to rely on your kids. That is just signing a different contract with the same villain. A reverse mortgage doesn't stop the property taxes. It doesn't stop insurance hikes. It just adds a layer of interest to the theft of your equity. You aren't saving your retirement. You're just selling it to the bank in installments. And the downsizing options. If you haven't accounted for the 1997 tax trap, you might find that the IRS, the commissions, and the moving costs, you have less cash flow in a $400,000 condo with a $600 HOA fee than you had in the paid off house. Now, if you're determined to keep the house, if you refuse to let the state or the bank have it, then you have to stop acting like a family and start acting like a trust. The solution isn't a real estate tip, but 3 things have to happen before anybody moves a box. First, if your kid is paying the carrying costs, they're earning equity. Every month, get an attorney to document it. Without their paper trail, the Medicaid look back treats every dollar they paid as a gift, and they could lose everything. Second, sit down and run the actual number. What is the $1,500 a month worth in 30 years if it's in your kid's name instead of your tax bill? That number is the real cost of the house. If it doesn't change the conversation, nothing will. Third, set an exit date. No date means no plan. It means you're both just drifting towards losing it anyway. Now, I know this isn't what you wanted to hear. You wanted me to tell you that the 2026 market is going to level out. You wanted me to tell you that having your kid home is a blessing and that everything will work itself out in the end. But I've seen the HUD statements, the tax auctions. I've seen the look on a 70-year-old's face when they realized their paid off house wasn't really what they thought. The house isn't the finish line. It's the bait. The system wants your equity. It will use your children's income to get it if you let it. You have to be smarter than the machine. You have to recognize that the forever home was a 20th century dream that is being used to fund a 21st century nightmare. So talk to your kids not about the vibe of the neighborhood, about the deed, the taxes, and the exit strategy. Because the shadow mortgage is real. It's current. It's coming for both of you. So protect what's left of your family's future before the state decides it belongs to them. Let me know your thoughts about this, even if you disagree with me. Leave them in the comments below. I read all of them. Now, if you found this to be helpful, share it with someone that could benefit from it. Thanks for watching and see you next time.